Hi friends, it's Erica. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. If you are not yet subscribed, please make sure to do that. I upload videos every week on mindfulness and spirituality. Make sure to subscribe if you aren't already and turn my post notifications on so you know whenever I post a new video. So as you can tell, this video is going to be all about my spiritual journey and kind of how I got to where I am now. This is a video that I've wanted to make for quite some time now, and I thought it was appropriate to post it on this channel that is fairly new, where I make videos about spirituality. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of a long video, so I would recommend grabbing a snack or a beverage or something. I've got my coffee back there. I want to say thank you to everyone for the positive feedback on my last video I did, which was also something that I just kind of did like free speaking. I didn't really prepare any bullet points or script or anything for the last video I did, and this video is going to be similar in that way. I just feel like it's a lot more real and authentic, and I don't know, I like it. If you can relate to any part of my journey, let me know in a comment or send me a message or something. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe if you aren't already, and follow me on my social media. My username is just at ericacanchola on Instagram and ericalubsyouu on Snapchat. For those of you who don't know, I also have a poetry Instagram account, and that is just at belovepoetry. All that info will be in the description box below, but without further ado, let's just get into the video. So I want to start this video off by sharing one of my favorite quotes with you guys that I believe I first heard from Deepak Chopra, who's an amazing spiritual teacher and author. I don't know if he's the original person who said the quote, but it's him who I first heard it from. And the quote is, "We are not humans having a spiritual experience, but rather we are spiritual beings having a human experience." I love that. And when I first heard that quote, literally like my perception changed. I was like, oh my god, like that is so true. So that's why I always find it interesting when people talk about like becoming spiritual. I don't think it's that we become or like start on the spiritual journey. I think it's that we kind of rediscover ourselves and our spirituality that is kind of like our innate nature as human beings. So when I talk about beginning my spiritual journey, I really don't mean beginning. I really just mean coming back to it and remembering, why am I here? I think so many of us humans are just naturally curious because we want to know more. You know, we seek answers, and I think that is what drives a lot of our spirituality per se. And I can say that's true for me. You know, growing up, I always had this deep curiosity to know more about myself, about the world, about why we're here. What's the meaning of this? What's my purpose here? You know, like those are questions that literally since I can remember, I always asked myself, mainly because everyone else would have thought I was crazy. Honestly, I can't pinpoint like a day or a time that I just started to invest myself in learning more and asking the deeper questions, you know. When I was very, very young, I think not even a year old, I was baptized, and I was baptized as Catholic. My whole family was Catholic or is Catholic. I think growing up we went to church almost every Sunday. We went pretty often. I also remember my mom enrolled me in catechism. So these were weekly classes where I would go and be with a few other kids my age, and we'd be taught, I guess, about the story of Jesus Christ and about God. I went to these catechism classes for, I want to say like 4 years until I did my first communion. Being in those classes, like I honestly like don't remember much at all. And I didn't really retain anything that I learned in those classes. And I think it's because I didn't really feel connected. And as I got older, after I did my communion, I think I did those catechism classes for 2 more years, up until I was in like, I don't know, 6th or 7th grade, I want to say. And gradually we just started going to church less. So then we only went to church like on holidays, mainly just like Easter and stuff. So I really didn't retain much that I learned at church or in the catechism classes, which you'd think I would after going for like 6 years on a weekly basis, you know? But basically what I concluded from that, and I guess what I still conclude, is that I just was never really connected. I didn't really understand what I was learning. Like, I think I was just so curious, and I just had a lot of questions, but I was never one to just be out there and ask the questions, you know? So fast forward a few years, I'm now in high school, and I don't really have any kind of connection to my religion anymore. I'm starting to learn more things in school. And I remember junior year, I think it was, in my English class, we started reading books that I became very interested in. And I found myself really interested in Eastern religion and Eastern philosophy. Initially, I probably learned about it on like YouTube or something. I also remember in that same English class, and then also in my history class, we had like a world religions unit, you know? And I was so interested in that because I was like, oh my God, there's more out there than just like Catholicism or what I was raised to know. And then I started asking myself, like, why do I believe what I believe? Like, I know I was raised this way, but does that mean I have to stay this way? Yeah, I just started to question a lot more based on the things that I was learning in school and like science. And like I said, in that world religions class, or not class, unit. I guess my curiosity really just started to come out, and then I wanted to just kind of set out to search for answers on my own, because at the same time that I was kind of rediscovering my spirituality, I was also on this like new lifestyle, a new mindset that I wanted to live, where I just wanted to be positive. It was like two shifts were happening at once that were just like changing my perception on the world, on how I acted, on everything basically. I think it was my junior year when I read The Alchemist in my class, and I love that book. I talk about it all the time. If you haven't read The Alchemist, go read it. But I remember reading that book, and it talks a lot about, you know, finding your personal legend. I felt connected to that. I was like, oh my God, like I do have a purpose here, you know? That book mentions like the universe a lot and how everything kind of aligns for you and everyone has a unique path. And as long as you follow your heart and your intuition, like you will fulfill your purpose on the planet, you know? And then I also remember reading Siddhartha that year as well, and that is the story of the Buddha and how his journey went, and I was fascinated by that. So then I just remember on my own deciding like I don't want to conform to a specific religion anymore. At that time I saw a lot of value in like Buddhism because it's a philosophy and there's not as many rules that you have to follow, and it's not the same as a religion. From reading things in the news and just learning about things that were going on, like religious extremists, that kind of made me want to stray away from a specific religion. I was just interested in learning about other types of belief systems and lifestyles, I guess you could say. So I remember mainly my senior year also was when I went vegan. This was also a big step in my spiritual journey. So the reason I went vegan was for the animals initially, and quite frankly, it still is the main reason that I'm still vegan. But I remember when I started kind of figuring out the truth about the animal agriculture industry and about how these animals were being treated, I was just so appalled. I was so like shocked, and it broke my heart. I started to really believe in the concept that we are all one at our very core, like all beings on this earth. The ethics behind veganism were a huge influence in my spiritual journey, because I was like, how can I claim to be spiritual and speak of peace and love when, you know, the choices that I make are directly harming another innocent being? So I made that conscious connection. And I think that's why veganism is so powerful. Like, not only does it help our world and our planet, but it also just makes you realize that we're all one. We are connected. Like, animals feel pain just like us. Like, they have families just like us. Like, we're all one. Like, no one is superior to another. We're all creations of this universe. We are all God's creations. So why are we killing each other? Why are we causing murder to innocent beings, innocent people? Like, we're all just beings. This actually also caused me to turn away from religion even more, because I was like, okay, so the Bible says this, but then people who preach the Bible are still like eating animals and, you know, unknowingly maybe or knowingly causing harm to innocent beings. I was like, it just doesn't connect. Like, a few months after going vegan is when I moved to LA to go to college. A lot of my friends that I actually just happened to meet were Christians, and they went to this church called Hillsong. I'm sure some of you guys might have heard about it. And I remember I just kind of decided to go one day. So I started going to church again. I started going to Hillsong, and I would go every Sunday at like 8 p.m. Being in that church was very powerful. It was just such a great environment, honestly. Like, I loved it. That's why I kept going back, because I loved it. Like I said, I was raised Catholic, and Catholic churches are a lot different than this church that I was now going to, you know, Hillsong. So I kept going to Hillsong weekly for like a year and a half, and I loved it. But there was still something in me that could not fully connect. Like, I could not be there and fully just say, like, I am a follower of Christ. Like, I couldn't do that. I think it's because in the back of my head I knew how judgmental some religions were, and I'm someone who's very open-minded. So again, I started to stray away from religion. I stopped going to church, and I just kind of started reading other books and still asking myself deeper questions, trying to learn more. I guess just not conforming to a specific religion or like practicing a specific religion. And that was working for me for a while, and I finally felt like myself again, like I could connect. I started listening to podcasts, and hearing other people's insights and perceptions on the world was just so fascinating to me. So I was just kind of drowning myself in like all this new information and all these different spiritual practices, and learning more about myself and about why we are the way we are. Now let's fast forward to present day. And just a couple months ago, actually, I've been listening to a lot of Oprah's talks and Dr. Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra. You know, these are some of my favorite people to learn from. I love listening to their lectures. I love reading their books. But I noticed something. They all interchangeably use the word God. And I started to think, how are they using the word God but then teaching non-religious spiritual practices? And I was kind of conflicted in my head. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to like conform to a specific religion, but even some of the greatest spiritual teachers who don't necessarily preach religion are now using this word, which is God. It wasn't until just about a month ago that I read the book A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson that I finally made the connection. Even though I chose not to conform to a specific religion, like I would always say when someone asked me about God, I would say, well, I think that God is everywhere, God is within us, God is ultimately love. But I don't think I ever fully believed that until now. I think that any one of us can believe in God and not necessarily be tied to a specific religion. God is a word that has been given so much meaning. God and universe and source are all interconnected. God is this invisible force, this invisible sense of deep love, unconditional love. And it's the reason we're all here. It's the reason why we start out as infants and grow old. It's the reason that flowers bloom. It's the reason that trees grow from a tiny little seed. That force that allows that to happen, that is God, that is the universe, that is source. And so right now, I'm at that point. in my spiritual journey, I feel like I'm just now awakening to the truth. Even though I've been, you know, practicing different things the past couple years, you know, I feel like just now I've finally made that connection. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter like what you actually believe in, as long as whatever you believe in, you know, the core root of it is love. No matter what religion, no matter what belief system, no matter what book you base your life off of or anything like that, you know, like our innate nature is love, because without love, none of us would be here. If we lived only with fear and hatred in our hearts, we would all kill each other. We wouldn't be here anymore. There'd be no reason for us to. We would destroy this place. We would destroy our own species, you know? And that's why I think that love is the answer to everything. Right now, I'm still in a place where I am deeply curious. I still want to discover more. I still want to learn. I remember just as I started reading the book, A Return to Love, I saw the word God and Jesus Christ and Holy Spirit mentioned in like the first couple pages. And I almost said, oh, like, I can't read this, like, because I'm not Christian or I'm not religious. But then I was like, wait, Erica, like, you claim to have an open mind, yet you're sitting here about to not read this book just because it has some words that reference, you know, Christian religion. And then I was like, okay, like, I'm going to read this because it has something to teach me. I really just feel like reading this book was like finding a missing puzzle piece to like the puzzle of my journey here on earth, I guess you could say. Ultimately, like, I get it now. Like, God is love, and that's all God is. If anything is said or believed in by a specific religion that paints God to be something other than love, that's not God. That's fear. That's judgment. That's hatred. That's rejection. And that's not what God is. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to make you believe in what I believe in. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm just here to share my story and how I've gotten to the point where I'm at right now. Whatever way of life that helps you personally find inner peace and allows you to live the most fulfilling life here on earth. That is what should be your foundation. Even if you claim to be an atheist or agnostic, like, it's okay. I think that everyone is different. Everyone has their own perceptions, but I would say that this perception has really brought me inner peace. And I know that the universe has my back. I know that God is protecting me, and I know that there is a higher power, and I know that there is this intrinsic energy that exists, that is why we're all here and why everything is here. You know, that is where I'm at right now in my spiritual journey. So I want to thank you all so much if you actually watched till the end. Let me know in a comment if you did. But thank you all so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been something that I've been wanting to film for a long time now, and I'm glad I finally did it. I probably missed some chunks of my story, but that would probably take me 3 days to tell from beginning to end, so I kind of just summarized it all. Wherever you are in your journey, just know that everyone's journey is unique, and keep questioning things, keep being curious, and just, you know, find what works best for you. Like I said, find, you know, whatever brings you inner peace and allows you to live your most fulfilling life here. Thank you guys. I love you. Don't forget to be here, be still, and be love. Bye guys.